over a year ago, a really good friend of mine went through a major personal transformation. Through this, it affected his business, it affected his personal relationships, and it really started to shape a different guy that I know. And through this process, he was able to leverage Facebook and video specific as a platform to get his message across. And through this series of things that he shared, he opened himself up, became extremely vulnerable, and very strong at the same time. Through this process, he has now invited his friends and the community that he has built through sharing his story to do the same thing. So, my name is Kolby, and I'm going to be sharing and participating in the 7-day Facebook video challenge. And I hope to do the same thing. Those of you who know me know this is going to be my life is funny. It's a story, and we're going to go through a lot of funny things and interesting things. And I'm going to share parts of my life and my story that I hope you can relate to. And the big piece for me is I'm not doing this for self notification and trying to prop myself up. What I would love for you to do through this process is if you like something that you've seen or a video is resonating based on a message, don't hit the like button. What I'd like for you to do is actually comment below or share this or tag somebody along that we can get this message out to. And the more people we can share this challenge with, but specifically messages that I share that might connect to somebody in need, then this whole 7 days has been extremely worth it. So today's message from me is going to be around owning our stories and owning your story. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of times you hear people say, no regrets, you only live once, I don't regret anything, it's who made me who I am. Well, parts of that's bullshit. I regret a ton of stuff that I've done. Do I think it's made me who I am? Absolutely. Do I like who I am? Yes, I like who I am as a person and who I've become through the years. The specific piece that I want to cover, I lived in fear of some things that I did as an adolescent. So as a kid, up until I was 18, 19, 20, I made some really stupid choices, right? I Nothing super crazy. I didn't rob a bank and I wasn't pushed to those circumstances, but I grew up in a single parent home and both my parents worked a ton, and I was if I wasn't at my dad's house or in California with my mom, I would go back and forth, and I didn't have a ton of supervision, so I was by myself a lot. In this, I found lots of ways to get into trouble. Lots of ways, whether it was adolescent drinking. I was really big into hip hop, so graffiti was a big part of my life, whether it was, painting trains and getting in trouble for that. Or there's a story that I will share specifically about my older daughter, Zion. And I got full custody of her when she was almost 2. And I left the state and took her across the state lines. And that caused me a ton of heartache for me and her mother and my daughter and my future. So the piece for me that really, really haunted me up until about 2 years ago was those stories and those things that had kind of lined up and followed me along the way. That when I had worked so hard through my life, through corporate America and trying to establish myself, I wasn't afraid of getting the job. It was the background check. So I had all of these shortcomings and all of these mistakes that I had made as an adolescent that I would get sick over it. I would go through the final process and wait for the offer letter to come, and I would literally get sick in my stomach having to know that I was going to get called in to have to explain these things that had happened, or I wouldn't get the job at all because they would see that I had done some things and they wouldn't hire me. And the higher and higher I got up through my career, the more and more and more I couldn't accept that. It just ate at me, and it was just something that I would lose sleep over it. And it wasn't until about 2 years ago when I really started to dive into entrepreneurship and building businesses for myself and leveraging all of the things that I had done over the last 15 years where I felt comfortable with it. And, kind of sharing my story through that, through a handful of interviews I've done recently, made me realize I am okay with that. I am okay with those past mistakes that I've made in my younger years and even leading up into my 20s that have made me who I am today. So the message that I would really love for you to get across is we all make mistakes. All of us make mistakes. It's understanding how you can leverage what you've learned from those mistakes. Try not to make those mistakes again, but forgiving yourself. You have to be able to forgive yourself. If you don't forgive yourself, you are going to live with this unsavory backpack full of dirt that's just going to weigh you down with guilt. As soon as you can learn how to forgive yourself, you can realize that there is a way to get past that and leverage that as a strength. These are things now that I have people talk to me all the time about that want to know more, that have been through similar scenarios of having major life-changing events that they've been afraid to even expose, and even just talking about that with somebody else pulls that weight off of your shoulder. So that's it. Video 1 for the Facebook video challenge into books. I'm excited to have you guys along on this journey. A ton of really cool, fun stuff to share. And like I said before, if you like the message, leave a message below, tag a friend, share it, and let's have a kick-ass 7 days. I'm excited to share this time with you. Peace.